is up? Worldwide wrestling vlog. Heels, faces, marks. You're all welcome here. You're all welcome here. Just don't be a jabroni. Don't be a candy-ass jabroni. That's all we ask. And as always, the referee, Billy J, live in-house. And the cowboy, Mr. Paul Vines, he'll be making his way in. He's running a little bit late, and that's all right because we got stuff to talk about before we get going here. So Mr. Billy has been out of town because he is a super sweeper, amongst other things. So he spent some time on the East Coast up in the ECW territories up there bringing back his spoils of victory from sweepstaking, dropping elbow drops on all the competition.
Yeah, I missed you guys last Saturday, but you had a good show. You had a couple, you had Pucks of Rain, Hedrick was on, and of course your son was on there as well, too.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great show, and Dylan has expressed interest in becoming a permanent fixture. So he's over there in Korea, and he doesn't have a whole lot to do all the time except for what there is to do in Korea, drink and eat. That's about it. So he's wanting to start coming on. So I offered this week, and he said he wants to get caught up. So he'll start coming on. Mr. Paul, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to come up, sir. All right, and there is the cowboy. You're not in the.
Good evening, gentlemen.
You're not in the sleeper, man. You look like you're in a hotel room.
I am.
Yeah.
Long story.
Good sleeping tonight.
Yeah. Mechanical things go row every now and then.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, hey, I'm going to go to the chat right now and welcome those that are here. Mr. Blaine from Rayleigh Creative in the house. Welcome in, sir. We also have, and I was making a video the other day, and I got an alert from Parker's on the Go. It said Parker's on the Go or live. And are y'all hearing that echo? Is there an echo? All right, it's just me. It's just me and my terrible ears. So I had no idea that the Parker's on the Go had a spin-off channel, whatever you want to call it, and they have a wrestling vlog, much like ourselves, Kings of Dysfunction Wrestling Podcast. So welcome, guys. I'm glad you guys are here. I hope you enjoy it, and I'd like to have you guys on here as well, and hopefully you'll find what we do here interesting enough that maybe you'll invite one of us, if not all of us, on. So Antoinette at Fun, hello, friend. Good to see you in here. Miss Ashley Ratliff, hello. Let's see. The Down Under Cruisers. Good day, mate. How are you? Good day, good day. Miss Felicia, she's trying to learn about wrestling. Hats off to Miss Felicia. All right. And as always, I'd like to thank our mods, Meg, Blaine, Kenny, and Danny. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate everybody that watches as well. It can only get better, I think. It could get worse, but, this is not SmackDown. This is the World Wrestling Vlog, so it will only get better. SmackDown used to be the show, man. What has happened to that show? And then Raw is so daggone long. Anyway, so last week we were able to talk about Wardlow becoming the new TNT champion in AEW. We also have crowned new AEW tag champs. Swerve in our glory, Mr. Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. And Danny, I know you're not a big AEW guy, but you know these two guys from WWE. And so Swerve is at home. Like, he's never been better than he's been on AEW. And Keith Lee's just good. He's other than his mic skills, which you either like it or you find it annoying, he's awesome. But What do you got on this, Mr. Cowboy Paul?
I think it's good. I'm a huge fan. I don't know the Swerve guy all that well, but I've watched Keith Lee for quite a while. I've always been a big fan of his work. Thought if they really gave him the right push, he could be a very believable, very dominant world champion someday.
Yeah.
Which I guess technically he is a world champion. He is a tag team world champion.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering. They've been teasing this turn by Swerve, and they even teased it in this match. How long before Swerve turns on Keith? And will that be when they hand the belts off and then Big Keith Lee makes his push for the belt? Because that guy, he needs a belt. He really does. So I think his character needs a belt. And he could be a very dominant champion for a long, long reign. But yeah, I'm happy for these guys. Billy, being that, you don't watch a lot of AEW, but you're familiar with these guys coming over for WWE. What do you think here?
Actually, I only know Keith Lee. I don't know the other guy too much. But from what I've seen, Keith Lee definitely deserves to be have a belt around his waist. So I'm glad to see that he has it, and hopefully he'll just keep going on up and up.
That 340-pound man right there did as Sockface likes to call him, a tope suicida. I thought he was going to kill somebody. I mean, it was the Young Bucks, and the only big guy down there was Will Hobbs. I was like, holy crap, he's going to kill somebody. And he hit Ricky Starks so hard with a body block. I mean, it just the dude is amazing. He is amazing. He's well spoken, and he's real. That is a real body type right there, and that is a real bad dude for sure. All right, I'll drop that down. Other things this week that were kind of interesting that happened in the world of wrestling. Let me. I'm gonna have to share my screen here. Give me just a second. Share screen. Yes, I understand. Get the right tab. All right. So you guys see this? So they've been teasing that there's going to be a special referee for the Usos and Street Profits. This came up during the Kings of Dysfunction podcast, and I made some guesses on who I thought it may be. But really, out of left field, I did not see this coming. Your guest referee for SummerSlam for this match is Double J, Jeff Jarrett. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm a Double J fan. I wish he would have took off a little better than he did when he was in WWE. I don't know what happened there, but there's a long lineage from NWA to WCW. I mean, the Jarrett family, the Jarrett name has been in wrestling since it began. Billy, how you feel about Double J getting back in it?
Well, it makes sense because SummerSlam is in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's Jarrett country. So, I'm not surprised that he's the guest referee, but it makes sense business-wise.
Yeah. So, do you know the other story behind this and the new position that Jeff Jarrett has been given within WWE?
Yeah, I heard. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but I did.
Yeah, he's like the PM of live events or something like that. So essentially, he's the live event promoter, which that's right up his alley. Paul, what you got?
Pretty much same thing as Billy. It makes perfect sense. Local guy, pretty much. He lives up where was it, Hendersonville?
Yeah.
Him and his dad own like 3/4 of that whole town up there. And that makes perfect sense. Stick him in there at Nashville. He brings local draw to the tag team match there. Even for people that weren't, say, into the match, the tag team match, they'll watch it because Jeff Jarrett's there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, Blaine, Ashley's asking if we could drop in, and I'll ask the same thing. If you could drop in the Kings of Dysfunction Wrestling podcast link in there. And also Parker's on the Go. They're a partner channel with us and good folks. You'll enjoy everything they do. Thank you, Blaine. Thank you. Appreciate that. So there it is. There you go. We want to, with this, just like we do on the cruise side, we want to make this a community and a family and try to grow it. So we appreciate it. Here's Bryce Pauly. Oh, okay. He another guy from Kings of Dysfunction. Yeah, I do. I really enjoy Double J being the ref. I like that they're going to use him and that he's willing to be used, which I'm not surprised at that. Jeff Jarrett's not going to be close to the business and not do something in it. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. I may just have to watch this premium live event. That's what they call them now, right? All right, let's bring that one down. So what else? I had something else that I wanted to talk about before we got started here. Man, must not have been that important, or I would. Oh, so the Fighter Fest stuff that's going on. So this is an AEW thing. It's not a WWE thing. But I really hate this name. So I understood it when they did it the first time, but now they continue to call this thing Fighter Fest, and it looks like the Fire Fest, whatever, big concert Palooza deal that they did in the Bahamas, and it fell apart. So it's kind of trendy and catchy, right? I hate that part of it. It is what it is, though. So anyway, that's going on now for AEW, and so far it's been pretty good because we've seen some belt changes. Some of the bad stuff has been really bad as usual in AEW. Last night, trying to think of the match last night that I really did not like. It was it was Ray Phoenix, and it's how bad it is. It was the main event, and I can't even remember who he wrestled. And then they started with the House of Black, which was terrible too. But anyway, in between that, Swerve and Our Glory won the championship, and that was goodness. So anyway, so they've got that going on, and this week on AEW Dynamite, they are going to do a barbed wire everywhere match with Kenny Kingston and Jericho, with the Jericho Appreciation Society, which is as corny as all get out. So freaking markish. They're all going to be hung in a shark cage above the ring. What do you think about that, referee Billy J?
Sounds like a lot of gimmicks going on there.
A lot of gimmicks. I don't even know that Impact Pro would do anything like that.
Probably not. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would be a fan of it. That's me.
Yeah, I mean, I just bringing in the garbage death match stuff. I actually thought it was pretty cool when they brought in Nick Gage. I was like, okay, they've done the dark side of the ring. Here is the guy. Let's do it. But then when you do it so much, it's just like the juice doesn't matter anymore, But anyway, how you feel about it, Paul?
Pretty much same thing. That is gimmick central right there.
Yeah, you got to have a
there's people into that.
Yeah, there's a market for it. There's definitely a market for it. And it's.
But I watched the team last night. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I watched the team last night, and I'm not good with the new names, but one of the guys used to be in WWE named Aleister Black.
Yeah.
Who I thought was just killer. And he was with some monster-looking guy last night, and I thought that could be a dominating team right there. They could, yeah.
It could be, but what I've seen is that Brody King, who's his partner that you're talking about, and it's Malachi Black in AEW, from the House of Black, which also they have Buddy Matthews there as well. I think Brody King is getting more over than Malachi Black at this point. That elimination that he had over Darby Allin in the Rampage Royale or whatever they called it, that was one of the coolest finishes I've ever seen. I mean, he grabbed the guy in a sleeper hold and hung him off the apron until he passed out and dropped him. I was like, that's killer. I like that. That was a cool finish. And then they, of course, Who were they wrestling against? Did they have some jobbers in there?
I don't have a clue.
I think they had some jobbers in there, if I remember right. But anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, I think they're running.
Those are carpenters compared. If you ask Arn Anderson, those are carpenters.
Well, you're right. I mean, I normally wear
not jobbers.
Never forget the jobbers because they're talent enhancement is what they are. But yeah,
Moki Mania.
Oh, hold one. I'm sorry, guys. All right. So on to the next thing here. So what I wanted to talk about today was tag team wrestling. So that's the topic of the day, and I kind of thought about it because we've talked a lot about a lot of different things these past couple of weeks, and we've really kind of primarily focused, even though we brought up tag teams, it's really been focused on the individual guys, the singles guys. So I thought a way to lead the discussion would be this, and I'll share the screen here in a minute, but this article from the Sportster, it was actually posted onto WWE, the best tag teams ever, according to Ranker, which, okay, I got it. It's not PWI. It's not Between the Ropes. This is not Paul. This is not Paul Dangerously or Paul Heyman. This is not Mr. Cornette. It's Ranker, but it gives us something to talk about, and it gives us a starting point. So let me go ahead and get this shared, and we'll begin. All right. So, according to the Ranker, best tag teams. So the Rockers. How do you feel about the Rockers being the first one that they bring up? Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. I don't know how I feel about this one. How do you feel about that, Billy J?
Not too sure. I mean, I like Shawn Michaels. I like the tag team, but are they the greatest tag team? Probably not. But
I thought they got this right when I first scrolled down to it. I started scrolling down, and I thought this was the Rock and Roll Express, and oh no, it's the Rockers. I mean, Marty Jannetty's he's a mid guy, man. He's mid. Shawn Michaels, I mean, he's main event all day, but
yeah.
I enjoyed the Rockers as a young kid, but best of all time. And this is WWE specific, but I don't even know that I put them in the best with WWE. I mean, Paul, how you feel about it?
Well, at first there I was like, what in the world? But then you clarified it with it being WWE. No, not even close to number one, even not in just WWE, no way. Because, I mean, you go back through the 60s and 70s and 80s, I mean, they wouldn't have stood a chance. I'm sorry.
No.
They can't hold a candle to some of the great tag teams just in the WWE.
Yeah, they were riding that wave of, the hairband metal stuff, and Shawn had a look, and so did Marty Jannetty. But, yeah, I mean, as far as being – I wouldn't put them up there with some of the best workers. So now we get to the New Age Outlaws.
Give me just a second. I'm going to try to switch to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, go ahead. So then next on the list here, the New Age Outlaws. So, I like the New Age Outlaws, so I'm a little torn on this one. I like Billy Gunn. I like Road Dogg. I enjoyed their mic stuff. Did I enjoy their in-ring? Probably not as much. But I think that Billy J enjoyed Billy Gunn's in-ring.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
so this is a singles match that Billy Gunn had back in 2005. So this is me about to get squashed by Billy Gunn.
That's a man right there, buddy.
Did you sell it, Billy?
Of course.
It looked like he wasn't going to have to sell it. Looking at that look on his face there.
He hit me pretty good.
That's a solid feller.
Yeah, it's a lot of meat.
All right, let me get that out of there, and let's get back. And is the right thing being shared? Come on, man. Technology. I'm not always good at it. There we go. All right, so I mean, they did a lot of good business. They made a lot of good money, but I wasn't a huge fan of their in-ring stuff. I think the bloom kind of fell off the rose too when they brought him back at an old age and tried to do that last run. Billy was way ahead of Road Dogg for sure, and they put the belts on him. Anyway, so what do you think about the New Age Outlaws, Paul?
Oh, I loved them at the beginning. I thought they were really good. They really helped the WWE with the Attitude Era. And I know we've talked about it before, but when WWE and WCW were going head to head, wrestling really needed that injection, if you will. And they were the right people at the right time. I thought they worked great as a tag team. Of course, Road Dogg is at least second generation star from the Armstrong family. Yep. So I liked them. And Billy Gunn, I mean, that guy never gets old. Literally, never gets old, apparently.
Yeah, he's found the fountain of youth for sure. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. I think I've definitely loved them during the first run because everybody, DX, and when Road Dogg would come in and say what he, he can ramble it off. I can't even remember everything that he says, but the Road Dogg, Jesse James, all of that stuff was great. But that second run, you got to know when to step away sometimes. And but they've still, both of those guys are doing so much for the business still. It's really unfortunate that WWE gave Road Dogg his walking papers. That hurt NXT, but Billy Gunn is still working with the young talent in AEW, and he's done a lot. If you see where not just his boys, so his boys, the Gun Club, they're fantastic, and they don't have a lot of experience. But Max Caster and Bowen, I always draw a blank. I've been going all day. Anyway, when they come out and so Max Caster and Bowen, these guys, the Acclaimed. So when the Acclaimed come out, watching where they have gone when they started and knowing that Billy Gunn's had his hand on all of that, he's really brought them a long way. All right, so I don't think I'm going to get much pushback on this one. Steiners. I mean that for me, this was the team when I was a kid. Steiner recliner, Frankensteiner. I mean, old Rick down there barking like a dog. It didn't get any better for me than the Steiner brothers. And that I love shooters, and these guys they're shooter central. But where would you I think I'd put the Steiners higher than they have them listed. And I don't know if this is in order, but what do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I'm about to drop down. My internet is going crazy here. Sorry.
No, you're good. Hey, Billy will pick up right here. So, I mean, I think I'd put the Steiner brothers over. As far as WWE tag teams are concerned, they're up there.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully this list is not in order. But I'm a big fan of the Steiner line, and then Big Papa Pump. But yeah, definitely, I do like the Steiner brothers, and they deserve to be higher on the list if this list is in order.
I mean, they've held all the straps, man. I mean, they've held the NWA strap, they've held IWGP. I mean, you name it. Everywhere they've went, they held the belts, and they're one of those legitimate. Those two guys legitimately you could not take the belts off of them unless they wanted them taken off of them. Working or shooting, either way. It's kind of like everybody was always, or not everybody, but the McMahons were scared of putting the belt on Andre, because if you put it on Andre, it's not up to you if he drops the belt or not. It's up to Andre, and he really didn't need it anyway. But so I always loved the Steiner brothers, and I'm really enjoying seeing it's Braun Steiner, not Braun Breaker, but I'm enjoying seeing him and what he's doing in WWE, and hopefully at some point they'll come to their senses and they will let him use his real name, because he's a Steiner. I mean, they already did it at the Hall of Fame and acknowledged it, so why not go ahead and let him use his name?
Yep.
The Usos. I have never been a huge Usos fan, and I'm probably going to get some heat for that. It's just too much flippy flopping for me. Now, I like their mic skills. I like them stooging for Roman Reigns, but I just don't see them. Like, I wouldn't even put them over the New Day, and I like the New Day. I'm not saying anything bad about the New Day, but I'd rather see the New Day than the Usos. I can name a number. I would rather see with current day tag teams, I'd rather see the Viking Raiders, to be honest with you. But anyway, I'm more of a pure pro wrestling fan, and the Usos cater more to the sports entertainment side. But how do you feel about the Usos?
Well, I live here in the Pensacola, Florida area. This is Uso country. But I am not the greatest fan of the Usos. Now, I am a fan of their dad, who is Rikishi.
Yeah.
I've been in the ring with Rikishi. But the Usos, I mean, I would rather watch New Day as well than the Usos.
I think that's part of what I don't like is it's known that Rikishi is their dad and that they're part of that Samoan lineage. And they don't run away from it. But they also, it's not as acknowledged as, it's like Rikishi was your dad, I don't know. I don't know what it is for me. It doesn't click for me with the Usos. I think they work. I think they're good workers. I think they do fine. Maybe it's because they've always had the belts. It seems like, I don't know. So Danny brought something up here, and I'll make a quick comparison. I mean, I would almost compare the Usos to the Young Bucks if there was an AEW counterpart. Now, I would rather watch the Usos than the Young Bucks, I think. That's just me. But, yeah, I don't know. I actually think that the Young Bucks may have more in-ring things that they can work than the Usos. The Usos matches always seem the same. Is that just me, or?
Well, they do the same. That's for sure.
We're gonna get stereo Usos. We're gonna get the Frog Splash. At some point, you're going to see Roman in the back, looking down his nose at them, making sure they're doing the right thing. But yeah, the Acclaim. That's my AEW. That's my AEW tag team right now. I think they're going to go over. But yeah, anyway, that's enough of beating up on the Usos. I don't want to bury them. It's not going to matter anyway. I think they're getting ready to drop the belts. I really do. So going into SummerSlam, I think it's time to put them on the Street Profits. They probably would have dropped them to RK Bro had Randy not gotten hurt. But that may be a good thing, because I think it would be refreshing to see the Street Profits get it. And they've put the work in. They've definitely put the work in. I think they deserve it. The British Bulldogs. I like this. Now, and my reasoning for liking this is probably not that they've been such a fantastic tag team. And they were a good tag team, but probably not one of the smoothest tag teams ever. But, man, Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy, wow. If those two guys could have kept their personal lives together, what could they have been? Dynamite Kid, I love watching his Tiger Mask matches when he was in Japan. Just fantastic. But, yeah, I don't really disagree or agree with this. I think as far as historically, looking back at the WWE and the time period when WWE really took off, they definitely were contributors. Probably not. I wouldn't put them in my favorites of all time. But as far as WWE is concerned, I think this is spot on. How do you feel, Billy J?
I agree 100%. Definitely a great tag team. Always enjoyed their matches, and I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, anytime I can watch Dynamite Kid, it's going to be good.
Yep.
You never know what you're going to get out of Davey Boy.
That's true.
Now, his son is wrestling in Japan right now, or was. I hadn't really been keeping up with it, but it'd be interesting to see him come through. All right. Can't argue with this one. The Hart Foundation. I mean, everything that the Harts touched turned to gold. It's unfortunate that Owen left us too soon and that Brett took that unfortunate trip to WCW that he just never was able to get over. But and that's an interesting story from the 90s, right? Is the Brett couldn't get along with Goldberg, and they were pushing Goldberg, and Brett being the shoot pro wrestler professional he is, and it was all just over a misunderstanding. And I would have liked to have seen how different pro wrestling would be right now had Bret Hart stayed in WWE.
Yeah,
I think the landscape would be completely different. You got anything on the Hart Foundation?
Great tag team. I have no issues with them. They deserve to be on the list. It's great.
Yeah, they definitely deserve to be there. The Brothers of Destruction. I like it. So it's I just finished watching the Brothers of Destruction WWE Evil special, and I missed some of this because when some of this was going on, Chastity and I were newly married. We had kids, getting ready to join the military, so I missed some of this run. So it was good for me to watch the Evil segments. But yeah, I mean, Undertaker and Kane, arguably two of the best big men to ever do it, as far as just being able to do crazy amounts of things that guys their size should not be able to do. Probably, Callaway more than Kane, but wow, yeah, they definitely have their place there, and almost as much as Stone Cold contributed to the Attitude Era, and they're probably go unnoticed sometimes for their contributions because their stuff was so good, and it started in that dorky 80s era where stuff was so bad, but Undertaker was able to make it work, with Percy Pringle helping him out, and then Kane comes in and they build Kane up, and the amount of studying that they did of horror films and stuff, just nothing but respect. And I Brothers of Destruction definitely deserve to be on here. Billy, how you feel about it?
I agree. They deserve to be on the list. One of my favorite tag teams growing up as a kid, and they're a great big man tag team. That's for sure.
For sure. Edge and Christian. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with this because I remember watching these matches. The ladder matches. They probably contributed to the Hardys being over more than the Hardys themselves in some aspects. And those two tag teams just pushed each other. And then right below them, the Dudleys, they contributed to all that as well. But yeah, I mean, Edge and Christian, I don't think coming in to the WWE, they ever expected to do the things that they did, but they adapted. And Edge and Christian have always been solid on the mic, solid in the ring. I like Edge more than I like Christian. I like the version of Christian we're getting now in AEW. It's really good. But how do you feel about Edge and Christian here on this list?
I like them as a tag team, definitely. They're pretty solid. And those TLC matches were crazy.
Yeah.
They took a lot of shots. The Concerto, remember the Concerto? And I do have a nice thing to say about Edge. Edge did come to one of our wrestling shows once, and he did not go out and sign autographs like all the other wrestlers that we had there. He actually stayed in the back and watched the matches that were going on because he didn't want to take away from the matches.
Wow.
So I thought that was really nice of him to do that. So, so I'm a big fan of Edge for doing that, but a great tag team all around for sure.
Yeah, and I think Christian can, Christian got more out of them being a tag team than Edge did. Christian was always better as a tagger. I don't really get into Christian singles matches that much. However, in AEW, he's had a couple of great matches with Kenny Omega, and really, other than Kenny Omega, I can't think of any other great matches he's had. It's funny because he came in and his thing was outwork everyone, and he never wrestled. He went and he won the Impact Championship from Kenny Omega, and then he wrestled a couple matches, and then he became a manager for the Jungle Friends, or Jungle Boy and the Dino, and of course now he's still managing Luchasaurus, but he's going to wrestle this coming week. I do like his heel work right now. Man, he is just destroying people on the microphone right now, and boy, it's borderline cringy. I mean, when you talk about Luke Perry posthumously saying that, I bet your family wishes that you were dead instead of your dad. It's like, oh man. And then he calls out Jeff Hardy. It's just ooh. So yeah, Danny, you didn't know that, huh? So yeah, Jungle Boy Jack Perry. It is Luke Perry's son. He could have had whatever job he wanted in Hollywood, and he decided that he wanted to wrestle. So him hanging around that dinosaur though is, man, they need to stop that. He needs to start a singles career and get away from him. And I actually like Dino a little bit better by himself. That's looking a lot better. The Dudley Boys. So I'll tell you, from my growing up watching wrestling when I was a teenager, these were my guys. I would stay up late at night to watch ECW television. So I come on Channel 10, and you had to wait until like 1 o'clock in the morning for it to come up. But yeah, and they never changed. They've always been the same. And, Bully Ray, Bubba, he's done great work on his own. Devon, just fantastic. And they're great. They've always been true to the business. I don't know that I've ever seen them do any silly stuff that would disgrace the business. Even though they did bring furniture into the ring and all that kind of stuff, it was always serious with them. And I always liked the Dudleys.
Yeah, Dudley Boys fan, definitely. 3D and get the tables. Yeah, definitely. But I never watched them in ECW, but I did watch them in WWE. But I have seen videos of them in ECW. But yeah, they're crazy guys too. They take all kinds of different shots with chairs and tables and ladders, and but yeah, they definitely belong on this list for sure.
Yeah. So Paul brings up one of the toughest tag teams of all time, especially in Japan, was Doc and Gordy. Yeah, for sure. Those matches in Japan back in the day, I mean, you hear Flair talk about it sometimes, and for those guys to go over and have the career that they had when strong style was really strong. I mean, those were battles over there. No punches were pulled. It was kayfabe, but it was some rough kayfabe. But yeah, so we're on D-Generation X. I love DX, but do you consider this a tag team?
No, it's a faction, not a tag team.
Exactly, and so I mean the tag team of D-Generation X. We've already talked about the New Age Outlaws. But I love D-Generation X, and I know that Shawn and Triple H tagged, and I know that Waltman had some tag stuff, and China even got involved, but this is not a tag team. So yes, good, best tag team of all time. Well, I guess you could say the NWO was the best tag team of all time too. If you're gonna, no, not don't agree with that one. Not because of the work, just because of Hardy Boys, definitely there. And their generations that they've crossed and still been over has just been impressive. It's probably time for Jeff to hang up the boots, but I mean, he has a hard time walking around, and Matt's never really been great, but they work good together. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely there. How you feel about the Hardys?
I like the Hardys definitely at the TLC matches, but I like them together. But separately, I don't know if I like them a whole lot. But they're a good tag team together.
They did some. So a lot of people like Jim Cornette would probably shoot me for saying this, but when he was doing his weird delete stuff in Impact Wrestling, Matt, and then he incorporated Jeff, that was really some good stuff. And they tried to do it in WWE, but it really didn't work with all the transporting stuff. But that was some good. That was when Billy Corgan was still involved with Impact, and Billy just kind of told him, "Hey, do something to make me some money," and that's what they came up with. It was pretty interesting. I mean, they had a match with Lashley out on the Hardy compound, and then somebody had to wrestle the drone at one point. That was kind of silly, but it was. So here's one. Yeah, I agree with that, Scott. I like the Bushwhackers. That's my wife's favorite tag team. She got to see the Bushwhackers in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yes, he needs to hang up the booze as well. I mean, dude. I mean, did you hear what his blood alcohol content was? I mean, it was like 0.1. I mean, it was way up. He was near alcohol poisoning. He's lucky he didn't kill anybody. Yeah, so Billy Corgan, did they wrestle pumpkins? So he actually owns the NWA now, and he does the NWA Power Hour. He's a big wrestling fan, and he's actually not a bad booker. If he had what Tony Khan has, AEW may be closer to beating WWE. Paul says the Bushwhackers were gimmicky in the U.S., but were legit overseas, especially in Puerto Rico. Yeah. I mean, and they were shooters too. I mean, they could really go. They could really go for sure. All right. Legion of Doom, or as real wrestling fans know them, the Road Warriors. The Road Warriors, one of the best of all time. Definitely deserve to be on this list. And I'm waiting for Paul to chime in here, but I'm going to tell you, their work in Georgia Championship Wrestling is probably better than anything they ever did in WWE, but they were over everywhere. And they didn't have it was a different look there. It was a similar look, but it wasn't as over dramatized, I guess, for lack of a better term, in Georgia Championship Wrestling, and they had to work more. But yeah, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors. I mean, you're over when everybody's trying to copy you. And, they had all these spinoffs that, tried to, what was it? The Demolition. There was a couple other ones, and then they even tried to do them later on with like the Headbangers. They tried to do a new generation and that didn't work. But yeah, how you feel about that? I think I know how you're going to feel about it.
Definitely belong on the list, that's for sure. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Hawk because he passed away too soon. But Road Warrior Animal, I knew of him. He came to one of our shows as well. He's a great guy, out of the ring for sure. But yeah, great tag team overall. Definitely deserve to be on this list.
And then the New Day. I like the New Day. I've always liked the New Day. Don't know that they deserve to be on this list, though, to be honest with you. I mean, but I love the New Day. I think they deserve to be in championship talk all the time. I think they're being punished right now by Vince McMahon because they invited some AEW wrestlers onto their Up, Up, Down, Down podcast and vlog. So they're having to do some silly stuff. I don't know if you saw this week where they had to dress up like the Viking Raiders.
No.
Yeah. Xavier's beard was braided, and it's like, because, I mean, Xavier Woods is a pure wrestler. I mean, he is a legit pro wrestler. That guy has holds for days. But Paul Vines says, do you know the original members of the Legion of Doom? Paul Ellering, Jake Roberts, Matt Bourne, King Kong Bundy, Arnold Anderson, Iron Sheik, the original Sheik. Oh, okay, the faction. I see. Paul's got so much to add to this, and he's being foiled by his internet. He got to watch the golden age of wrestling that we kind of missed out on.
Yep.
Yeah, Arn. I knew what you were saying. I was just reading and not thinking. I think that's all. Yep. So that's all for the list. So now let's talk about what's not on the list. So, not on the list, Arn and Tully. I mean, but did Arn and Tully ever tag in WWE? Or they never? No, Arn and Tully were never. They never went to WWE, did they?
No. Huh.
Yeah. So they were always NWA, WCW guys. The Midnight Express, probably the greatest of all time. I mean, them and the Rock and Roll Express not on there.
Yep.
Let's see. Who else was missing from the list? Let's go back. We need to go back.
Mega Powers.
Yeah. So you remember when Typhoon and Earthquake were a tag team? Why didn't they make the list?
Yeah.
So Paul says, as the Brainbusters, they did tag. Huh. So, you know, the Shield. I mean, I think they get in the conversation, but again, faction or tag team. Did they ever win tag team gold? I don't think they did. And I'll tell you, I like Dolph and Rude. Dolph and Rude as a tag team are really good.
Yeah.
I've always been a Robert Roode fan. I've always been a Dolph fan, and you know they've kind of figured out where the chips have fallen for them, and they're comfortable in that spot. But I'd love to see Dolph and Rude get a push.
Definitely.
Yeah. Beer Money in Impact Wrestling. That's a good tag team right there. I love James Storm, especially tagged up with Robert Roode. So, you know, interesting that there's tag teams that they will not talk about because obviously they work for another company now. But I mean, best of current day, FTR. I mean, there's nobody above them. Briscoes are right there. Love the Briscoe brothers.
Yep.
But, you know, of course, they're not going to talk about them here. And they weren't FTR, or were they? They were the Revival when they were in WWE.
Yeah, they actually came to one of our shows as well, and they were both two great guys.
Yeah, they're awesome and family men and true to the sport. So the Fantastics, not on there. Paul knows who I'm talking about. The Fantastics.
Yeah, I don't know the Fantastics.
Yeah, I wish I could remember I remember the Fantastics, but I can't remember who the two wrestlers were. I mean, that's way back, so I would remember tag names, but that's way back. Yeah. So Greg likes Bobby Heenan because he's the brain. Yep. You're exactly right. That brain. Oh, now, what else was not on that list that probably should have been? So, Man. So Cowboy Bob Orton, his tag team back in the day. I can't remember who did. Was it Dirty Dick Murdoch that he tagged with?
Might have been.
Yeah. And I just wanted to throw Dirty Dick Murdoch in there because Danny likes it. All right. But yeah, so today's tag teams, I mean, Swerve and Our Glory is really good. Young Bucks, they've proved to me that they can work. I didn't like them as much, but this last short tag title reign they've had, they showed that they can work in the ring. Street Profits, I like the Street Profits right now. I did mention Rude and Ziggler. I also like the tag team that's in NXT right now. They're shooters. They wear singlets. I can't remember their name. Shoot, it's because they're brand new to the business, but they're really good. And then there's also a lucha team that's in WWE right now down in NXT. That's not too bad. Female tag teams, don't see it a lot. I thought didn't WWE have a belt at one point for women's tag titles?
Yes, yeah, they did.
Do they still have it, or is that something that's went on?
Don't know.
Yeah, you don't really see a lot of ladies tagging. So anyway, we've beat this one up. There you go, Bobby Fuller and Tommy Rogers. There you go, the fabulous ones. I like them good old school names like that. The fabulous ones. All right. So I wanted to ask you something, Billy.
Okay.
I asked this last week while you weren't here. And this is probably going to be really good for you because you have no idea the pronunciation of this wrestler's name because you don't watch AEW a lot. So if you could, take a stab at pronouncing this name.
Konosuke Takeshita.
There you go. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's actually
way off.
Kensuke Takeshita is how they say it. Takeshita.
Okay, sure.
I guess you can see that, but it does look like Konosuke Takeshita. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it was Bob Orton and Dirty Dick Slater. Yeah,
there you go. Dirty Dick.
See, Paul, he's got all that old school knowledge, man. He go way back in the annals of history.
He's old.
He's old. So I have a little bit of trivia here. And this is actually you tell me which one of these things is real. Let's see if you can get it. And folks in the chat, you are welcome to answer this question as well. All right. So you have three choices. Number one, first thing, real or fake? Ric Flair once dropped the NWA World Championship belt and accepted female companionship as his payoff for doing so.
I would have to say, I don't know. I have to say real.
That one is false.
Oh.
Sounds very real, but it was false.
It's Ric Flair.
So the next one, Cactus Jack, also known as Mick Foley, Mankind, Dude Love. I think those are the only names I know of. But anyway, Cactus Jack once cried with fear, literally cried with fear, prior to wrestling Vader.
I'm going to go with real on this one.
That is false.
Jeez.
Hey, there were some people that were scared of Vader for real, though.
I'd be scared of Vader, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Last one. Haku, also known as Ming in WCW, once bit off a man's nose for claiming that the business was fake.
I would definitely have to say real for that.
You got that one right.
He's a mean guy.
He did bite a man's nose off for claiming that the business was fake. So you got 1 out of 3. All right. So
I'm better than the husbands on that other live show earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, we did bad. We did real bad. So the fabulous ones were Stan Lane and Steve Kern. Okay. Which Stan Lane, if I remember correctly, also messed around a little bit with the Midnight Express from time to time. And the Fantastics were Fuller and Rogers. Yep. And that exactly right. So the caveat to the Haku thing is it was in a bar fight in Baltimore. So there you have it. So big things coming up this week. I already talked about the barbed wire everywhere match. Ooh, gimmicks galore. Maybe they can make a match out of it. And Chris Jericho is going to show up as the Painmaker. So what do you know about the Painmaker, referee Billy J?
I know nothing on that at all.
So that is his alter ego, and he paints his face and gets scary, wears spikes on his jacket. He started doing it in New Japan, and it got over in New Japan. I don't know that it's been over at all in AEW, but Jericho right now, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Tony Khan has said, you do whatever you want to, Chris, because you're awesome. And Chris believes that he is awesome. Some of it's just terrible. This Jericho Appreciation Society stuff is garbage right now. And I hate it because I like Chris Jericho. He's one of the greatest heels of all time.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, but it is bad. Really bad. We've got in AEW, we have Luchasaurus and Christian who are going to tag together, and they are going to take on the Varsity Blondes, Griff Garrison and oh shoot, I want to say Candido. It's not Candido though. The other crazy guy, his son. Anyway, I'll think of it when we get off here in a minute. Pillman, Brian Pillman's son. Yeah. So, and he doesn't look bad. He's actually a pretty good wrestler. This Griff Garrison guy is terrible. He looks like a giraffe in the ring. But that's sure to be a terrible match. I can tell you what's going to happen already. Christian's going to stand in the corner. Luchasaurus is going to go destroy everybody. It's going to be over. That's what's going to happen in that match. Other big matches that are going to be on that Fighter Fest thing that they have going on, I can't really recall any. They teased that Tony Khan was going to set other matches later in the week or something like that. They're having some injury problems right now. I think one of the things is Danielson is on a concussion protocol, and as soon as he can stop having headaches for a 48-hour period, they're going to clear him, and he hadn't been able to do that yet. And then Punk's had to have surgery on his foot, so they've shot not pun here, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot with a lot of their plan. WWE, they keep moving towards SummerSlam. I guess Liv Morgan has the belt now for the ladies. Apparently they had a championship contender match because that's what they call them now. And she won it, which that normally doesn't happen. Apparently that was a good match. I didn't watch it, but I just watched some of the rewind stuff. And you've got Drew, who's got to build up with Sheamus and his motley crew of merry men. But not a whole lot going on the WWE side, at least what I saw. Billy, or anything that's going to be other than the potential dropping of the tag belts, I really don't see a whole lot.
Yeah, probably not much. I know someone in the chat earlier asked who Roman Reigns is going against, and that's Brock Lesnar.
Is that at SummerSlam?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he did make an appearance, didn't he? Did he make an appearance at Raw or SmackDown this week?
I don't know. I didn't watch either one. So.
Man, they've got to do. They have to do something with WWE. I mean, I don't know how they've held on to the lead with, and have as many people viewing every week. And they're on for 3 hours.
Raw's 3 hours, and that's just too long.
And they wrestle for an hour of that 3 hours.
Yeah.
They probably do their walkouts longer than they, but until people stop watching it, they're not going to change. I'm more interested in what's going on with the family right now, the McMahon.
That is more interesting.
It's pretty crazy. The Jarretts could end up being the ones in charge of WWE.
Maybe.
Because before the whole issue where Vince stepped down, Stephanie had asked for a leave of absence. And I guess now she's come back to be the McMahon in charge because of the whole sex scandal thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Just, wow.
And Shane McMahon's in and out because he's trying to put himself over or something.
Yeah.
In one of the pay-per-views or something.
I thought it was WrestleMania. He was upset that he didn't get a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, WWE is a little bit of a mess. But so hey, yeah, let's we'll go ahead and start closing this out. But Danny, yes, let's raid Pox Rain, give him some views. If nothing more, just stop in there, give him a thumbs up, drop something in the chat, drop something in the comment. That would help him out a ton. He was with us last week, did a good job. We'll definitely have him back on. So if you guys, if you drop something in the comments after, on the replay, if there's something specific that you want us to talk about or be aware of next week, I think we're going to continue doing it this way because we all watch different things, and I kind of like just talking a topic. We may have some very interesting people coming on as guests here very soon. Some exciting things kind of blew me away when I heard. But we appreciate everybody watching. Thank you for giving us the time. We really enjoy this. It does a lot for us. We hope it does a lot for you guys. We'll be right back here, same bat time, same bat channel next week. Billy, what do you have going on your other channels?
I'm doing the Raid Parade every Friday for my cruise channel, Captain Billy J Travels. I just got back from New Hampshire last weekend, so I'm editing vlogs for that. And I got my cruise is coming up in September, so hopefully I'll have some cruise content for that. And I wish I was in Iowa. Anybody that's in Iowa in the Midwest, check out Impact Pro Wrestling next week. They're doing the George Tragos Luthez Professional Hall of Fame weekend, and they have a whole bunch of great wrestlers from the past coming in, and they put on a great show. So if you're in Iowa or in the Midwest, check out that Hall of Fame weekend. And that's all I got.
All right. Hey, I appreciate it. Everybody jump over and go give Pox Rain some likes. Watch his show for a little bit. Let him know we're supporting him. Like and subscribe as well. He's a hardworking kid. Been raised well. He deserves it. But, hey, thank you guys. Until next week, we are the World Wrestling Vlog, and we are out.